Good morning and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, February 10th. We do begin each of our meetings with an invocation, and this morning we have Pastor Monty Mora from Ascent Church. We invite you to stand and join us.
Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, recognizing that you are the source of wisdom and authority. Your word tells us in Psalm 127:1, unless you build the house, its builders labor in vain. And so today we invite you to build and guide the work done in this room. We pray for the Board of County Commissioners, our county leaders and staff. Pray that you give them wisdom, discernment, and integrity as they make decisions that affect our community. May their leadership be marked by humility, courage, and genuine desire to serve the common good. Let this meeting be filled with honor, respect, unity, and peace, and help each decision to reflect justice, mercy, and care for every person in our county, especially the most vulnerable. We thank you for the privilege of serving this community and for the freedoms we enjoy, and may today's work honor you and bring blessing to the people we serve. We pray this in the name of Christ. Amen.
And we have Mr. Borman here today who's going to give us a special presentation of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Before we get started, I thought maybe we could change up the pledge. We often do the pledge by rote, but there's a deep meaning behind it. And this it comes from an entertainer. I'm old as the hills, Red Skelton, who would do the Pledge of Allegiance from time to time, but he would do the meaning. And I'd like to share that with each of us if you would give me that privilege. So I'll first go through the definition of all the words, and then we'll do the pledge, if that's all right. Okay? So I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge to dedicate all my worldly good to give without self-pity. Allegiance, my love and devotion. To the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of courage. And whenever she waves, there is respect because of your loyalty has given her dignity that shouts, freedom is everyone's job. Of the united, that means that we all come together. State, individual communities that have united into 50 great states, 50 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose, all divided by imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common cause, and that's the love of our country. Of America, and to the republic, a sovereign state in which power is invested in the representatives chosen by the people to govern, and the government is the people, and it is from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands, one nation, meaning so blessed by God, under God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power for one to live his own life without fears, threats, any type of retaliation, and justice, the principle and qualities of dealing fairly with others. So with that, let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Item 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm unaware of any changes to today's agenda, and the next meeting is Thursday, February 12th at 9:00 a.m. for the Board of Adjustment.
Item 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar, including items 5A through 5I3.
Okay, is there anyone here today who'd like to speak on an item on the consent calendar? Okay, seeing none, I will bring it up to commissioners for any comments or a motion.
I would move approval of the consent calendar.
Second. Okay, that's been moved and seconded. One last opportunity for any comments. Seeing none, I will call the roll. Commissioner Weissong,
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson,
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item 6.
Item number 6 is a proclamation recognizing President's Day. Corey Applegate, Commissioner, Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you so much. And thank you, too, to our great staff for writing this proclamation. Today, we're going to read a proclamation recognizing President's Day. Whereas President's Day, originally established to commemorate the birth of our founding father, George Washington, is celebrated annually on the third Monday in February to reaffirm our commitment to the constitutional principle and freedoms that our presidents have sworn to uphold and defend, recognizing the vital role of the leadership in safeguarding the sovereignty, prosperity, and unity of our nation. And whereas, in 237 years since Washington took the oath of office as the first president of the United States, 45 other Americans have sworn that oath and entered that office to discharge the duties prescribed by the Constitution. And whereas, the role of the presidency has evolved over time, shaped by the challenges and opportunities of each era, and most notably by leaders who reminded us of America's greatness and who championed the belief in individual liberty and America's ability to overcome any adversity. And whereas, during this pivotal year, as we celebrate our 250th anniversary of the founding of our nation, we reflect on the leadership, challenges, and enduring principles that have guided our republic through the times of trial and triumph, from the revolutionary spirit that gave the rise to this nation to today's continued pursuit of a more just and prosperous America for all. And whereas President's Day provides an opportunity to contemplate the qualities we seek in those who hold office of president, most essential among those courage and unshakable resolve to stand up for what is right for our country, even in the face of fierce persecution and opposition. And whereas President's Day, it has been the will of the people that the presidency be used to the work of perfecting our union, establishing justice, ensuring our domestic tranquility, providing for the common defense, promoting the general welfare, and securing the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our prosperity by seeking the world of peace, freedom, and opportunity. And whereas the presidency remains the symbol of accountability and service, inspiring future generations to participate in civic life, aspire to leadership, and contribute to the progress and the unity of our nation. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, hereby recognize February 16th, 2026 as President's Day and calls upon our citizens to reflect on the responsibilities that we all share in preserving the legacy of self-governance and patriotism. And that is done this day, 10th of February, 2026, at Colorado Springs, Colorado. The Board of County Commissioners, Chair Carrie Geithner, Vice Chair Lauren Nelson, Corey Applegate member, Holly Williams member, Bill Weissong member, and that is attested to by our County Clerk and Recorder, Steve Schleichler.
I'll second.
Okay, that has been moved and seconded, and I believe that we do have a guest here this morning, Pastor Monty Mora. We invite you to come on up and share your comments with us.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity. It's an honor as a faith leader here in El Paso County to support today's President's Day proclamation and to reflect on the role of faith, the role that faith has played and continues to play in presidential leadership and in the life of our nation. We know from the earliest days of America, faith in God has been the foundation to our identity. From the pilgrims seeking religious freedom to the patriots who formed this republic, our nation was built on the conviction that our rights do not come from government, but from our Creator. A truly God-centered presidency continues to recognize this truth and governs with humility, gratitude, and reverence for divine authority. Throughout history, presidents have openly relied on prayer for wisdom as they navigated moments of crisis and even moments of consequence. President Benjamin Harrison once said that prayer steadies one when he is walking in slippery places. And he lived this out by holding daily prayers in the White House. Even in our own time, national moments of prayer, such as the National Prayer Breakfast, reminds us that leadership requires more than strategy, more than strength. It requires divine guidance. Biblical leadership has always emphasized servant leadership, leading not for personal gain, but for the good of the people. Scripture reminds us that those entrusted with authority are called to serve with humility, integrity, and most of all, compassion. Leadership that is rooted in faith seeks justice, loves mercy, and walks humbly before God. Romans 13 reminds us that governing authorities exist under God's sovereignty. While elections are decided by the citizens, Scripture affirms that God remains at work, guiding history and calling leaders to moral responsibility. And throughout our nation's story here in America, presidents have appealed to divine providence to help unify the country and navigate moments of uncertainty. The president's oath of office includes protecting religious liberty, the freedom that allows faith communities to flourish, which I love, and consciences to remain free and hope to endure. Faith has always given this great nation the courage we need in adversity and clarity in moments of confusion. So today on President's Day, I encourage El Paso County to continue being a community known for prayer, service, and faith-filled leadership. May we pray for our leaders at every level, asking God to grant them wisdom, humility, and courage. And may our county, home of military families, first responders, faith communities, and generations of public servants, remain a place where faith strengthens leadership and leadership strengthens people. May God bless El Paso County, may God bless Colorado, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments, and we're going to now bring it up to the dais for comments from commissioners. Thank you. Who'd like to kick us off? Commissioner Weisong.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Pastor Mora. As you stated, it's President's Day, but we're all those that are elected. We have to go by the divine guidance, and I appreciate those words. And when we're sworn in, we swear to uphold the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution, and that becomes our guiding light. So thank you.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Thank you for being here this morning. It was a lovely prayer and message you just shared. I was also really struck by, during the pledge definitions, how it's up to each of us to maintain our freedom. And I think that's what's so beautiful about our country, and recognizing that it was founded upon biblical principles is not something we should ever ignore and should actually be celebrated. And I know I personally look to that guidance as I am leading, and I'm grateful for the many before us that have preserved our freedoms, and the presidents that have served, and recognizing that it is a privilege to lead and that we must do so with humility and through loving people. Love God and love people. That's what it all comes down to. So thanks.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I really appreciate the words that the pastor brought to us this morning. I think that our presidential leadership does have to be somewhat inspired. It's quite the job to hold. Certainly not anything I ever aspire to, but it's amazing to see what the difference is when we have a really, really good president compared to other times when we don't. We've recently been watching at home The West Wing just on Netflix, and makes you feel like you can run for any office by the time you're done. Because it always accentuates, overcoming the tough challenges. And so I think that anyone who takes on a job of representing the people, serving in Congress or serving as president, has to do so with some divine guidance from our Heavenly Father, because it feels like a tremendous responsibility every day. And I'm amazed at the number of men who have served as president and who have done that and have taken us through wars and tough times, depressions, and economic prosperity. So I appreciate all the comments today. Thank you.
I'll just add my comments briefly before I turn it over back over to Commissioner Applegate to close us out. But I also really appreciate the words that you shared, and in thinking of what it means to be a president of the United States and reflecting on the history of so many presidents. I actually watched a documentary about, it was a kind of a few minutes on each president through the years, just in the last several weeks. And it was timely for me to remember that. And one of the things that really struck me was how many presidents did not enjoy being president. And I can't say that I blame them. It's a heavy burden. I think it's easy for us to make assumptions about what it means to have authority or power, so to speak. And while there is privilege with that, there's also great responsibility. And so it was just interesting to me to just think through what a heavy weight that is. I think anyone who has been in a position of leadership, great or small, knows that it's impossible to please everyone. And so you are constantly displeasing some while trying to make the best decisions that you believe are right and just. And I think it would be impossible. I don't know how anyone could lead without having guidance from God, because it's just such a difficult thing to do, and to listen and hear all of the arguments, but then search for that core bit of truth to lead you to how to make a just and right decision. And it's a very difficult role. I can't imagine doing it at the presidential level. I also, just focusing in on the pledge, and thank you again to Mr. Borman. I actually used to love Red Skelton as a kid, and so I remember actually watching that on television a time or two with my parents. And we can sometimes go through things without really thinking through it. And so this is connecting that for me, and that thought about what a republic actually means, and that we elect leaders to represent us. And yet, again, they cannot always represent every facet of what every voter would like to see or believes. And so, again, it just is such a reminder of how important it is to recognize that we are a republic, and that while we have to represent the people, there are lots of ideas in that, and it's a very complex and complicated thing to do. And then on a lighter note, because my family is a big fan of Hamilton the musical. My teenage boys actually love the music from Hamilton the musical. While I was listening to this proclamation, it reminded me of King George singing about how impossible, he didn't know it was possible for someone to step away from power. And it's funny, and it's a very funny part of the musical that we enjoy. But there's also a great profound truth in that United States was such a different type of country, that we had George Washington willing to say, that's enough for me. It's time for me to move on. And also maybe a bit of a reminder of how maybe they didn't all enjoy that role. It's a great responsibility. So all of those things are helping me reflect on how important it is today for us to consider the heavy weight and burden. And I know we don't always all agree with every president, but it's important for us to remember that there is divine providence and who is leading our government, even when we don't they weren't our choice. That can be difficult, I think, for all of us. But I know I will continue to pray for President Trump, and I'm grateful for the opportunity for us to reflect on this and the importance of remembering to celebrate President's Day. And I will turn it over to Commissioner Applegate.
Thank you. To kind of play off of what you said, yeah, Harry Truman had a thing on his desk, and it like a banner or like a placard, and it said, "The buck stops here." So I do like that. Yeah, there's not a lot of presidents that, they could have led for years and years and years, but usually after a term or two, they walked away from the seat. And I think it's great that we have the faith that we have in this way this country was founded with our founding fathers, and the idea that after we took on a world superpower. And again, I've said this before, we set up a government by the people, for the people, and of the people. And that was the ultimate social experiment at the time, because no one in Europe, even in the Western world, had tried anything that big and that large of an undertaking. So it took a lot of faith, and it took 46 great men till now to lead this country. And I hope that no matter who's running the country in the future, I hope they continue to keep those faith values. And I hope they continue to lead with strength. So thank you.
Okay, with that, we are ready to take a vote, and we'll begin with Commissioner Weissong.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson,
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate,
Aye.
and Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. We're going to take a brief recess for a photograph. I'll call this meeting back to order. We are on item 7.
Item number 7 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports.
Okay. Does not appear that we have any countywide officials who'd like to speak this morning, so we will begin with Commissioner Weissong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week was the Pikes Peak Rural Water Authority meeting, and they're hopefully next month they'll be presenting the results of a pretty exhaustive study on what the kind of goals are for the region for water supply. Had an opportunity to be interviewed by KOAA concerning the Fountain Creek Watershed District as it pertains to the Colorado Water Conservancy Board. And it's one of those areas that we get a lot of funding for the Fountain Creek Watershed District. And also was at Stratton Park. The city was talking about the mitigation efforts and off of West Cheyenne Road. And then was able to attend the Monument Fire open house. They moved their headquarters into their own facility and with lots of room for expansion. And then also hopefully being able to set up a complementary Office of Emergency Management or Operations Control Center that will dovetail directly into the regional Office of Emergency Management. This week, a city and county drainage board meeting, along with attending UCCS at Pueblo this afternoon or this evening basketball game and meeting some of the Pueblo city and county officials, PPACG, and Parks Board. So it's going to be a busy week. Thank you.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Yeah, another busy week for me again as well. Tonight I have the CSU Extension Advisory Board meeting. They meet once a quarter, so looking forward to being back there. I wasn't able to make the last meeting, so excited to learn what is going on with that work and how the CSU Extension Office is supporting our community. And then tomorrow I'll be attending the El Paso County Housing Authority meeting and Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority, just making sure we're using those taxpayer dollars or that ballot initiative, PPRTA ballot initiative, that those tax dollars are being used in the way that the voters intended. And I guess that's it for me. Thanks.
Commissioner Applegate.
Thank you. So Friday, I was up at the Capitol, the Gold Dome, for the annual CCI legislative breakfast. And after that, there was some steering committee stuff, steering committee stuff at CCI headquarters. And it was good. I got to interact with a lot of the legislators, got to interact with some fellow commissioners. Really good. Saturday, I also attended the Downtown Winterfest, and you could say there was a buzz in the air because being Olympic City and the Olympics opening ceremony being the day before, everyone was pretty excited. So they had a lot of the different channels that were picking it up, had it on big screens. A lot of vendors were out there, and there was kind of like a buzz in the air. So people were really excited, and I'm encouraged. I want to continue to root for Team USA. I believe in American superiority, and I believe we have the best athletes, and we're going to take it home. We're going to win it all. So here we go. Go USA.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, last week I was in Washington, D.C. With the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments and the National Association of Regional Councils is what it was called. We did spend some time, we spoke with Congressman Gabe Evans specifically about the fact that the air quality standards in mountainous states are frequently affected by wildfires coming from Canada, and they're trying to adjust everyone within the United States is subject to the exact same air quality standard, whether they live on a coastline or whether they live at 11,000 or 12,000 feet or 7,000 as we do. And in that situation, the EPA comes in then if you go over your air quality and charges you a vehicle emissions test and a fee every year for many, many years until the air quality goes back down. So we're trying to actually change the standards so that we do have data that proves that the standards should be different for mountainous states and states that are as high up as Colorado. So I think Congressman Gabe Evans is making some serious headway on working on that standard. He has a very brilliant staff member who's working on that. And then we also met with other congressmen regarding the surface transportation reauthorization bill to encourage that be looked at this year. There is Democrat language available on that bill, but there hasn't been, the chairman of the committee has not yet submitted any language on that. So we're hopeful that that will come out this year. Not encouraging actually an increase in spending, just encouraging that it get back to the basics of building bridges and maintaining our highways. And so it was a very interesting trip. It was, the other thing I wanted to say, and I really did want to thank our Department of Public Works employees, especially the ones who run the snowplows, because in DC, it snowed a week and a half ago, and the kids were still out of school because they didn't have the equipment. The kids were still out of school in Maryland because they did not have the equipment to get the sidewalks clear, and it iced over. So it's the first time I've been to DC, and it's not been necessarily safe to walk places, which made it a little challenging. So, but I wanted to thank our Public Works Department for the excellent job they do getting our roads clean and making sure that people can get to work after a snowstorm. And let's hope we get some more rain. Thank you.
I appreciate my colleagues for mentioning many of the things that are happening this week. As a reminder, we do have a land use meeting on Thursday as well, so it's a big part of our week. Tomorrow, I will be judging a speech and debate contest. I've done this many years, as well as my husband, to help out students who are polishing their speech and debate skills. It's always a joy to see what truly talented students that we have in this area. They could probably take on any of us with great skill. So I'm really excited to participate in that tomorrow. I want to just talk a bit about last week. Last week, CCI held steering committee meetings, as Commissioner Applegate mentioned, all day Thursday and all day Friday. These meetings do tend to be pretty extensive. They take a considerable amount of preparation, both from our government affairs teams so special shout out to them for all the work that goes into making sure we understand the content of so many bills so that we can intelligently weigh in and work to take positions at CCI. Those meetings on Thursday and Friday started at 9 and 9:30 and went till about 5 or just past. And so those were very long days. I think they gave us about 15 minutes to heat up a lunch and get right back to work. So lots of work being done. And so thank you to all who participated in that. I also want to just is a taste of what we often are considering and looking into. Commissioner Nelson mentioned that she will be attending the CSU Extension meeting tonight, who provides cottage food classes and education to our community. And one of the bills that we took a position on and are looking at is an extension of the Cottage Food Act, which really just provides a bit more freedom for people to be able to make and sell things from their own kitchen. Commercial kitchen space is very expensive and hard to come by, and so this is a way to help people just make the choice to run their own small business where they are making goods and providing those to other people in the community. And so cottage food classes are a part of that. They learn about food safety so that they can make sure that they're preparing those foods safely. There is also a notification packaging label that they are required to put on, making sure consumers are aware that this was not produced in a commercial kitchen. So everybody is aware and knows what they're getting. And also, as I said, provides an opportunity for people to, bake a little bread or do something that provides great products for the community and also helps them boost their income a bit. So the expansion, I think, just adds some additional products. There used to also be a limit on how much you could sell, so that cap would be removed. So I'm really supportive of this. I think it's so important, especially when we are talking so much about health and the ingredients that often go into food that we buy in a standard grocery store. Oftentimes you have folks who use more whole natural ingredients, and the shelf life is not as long, but they are able to get that to their community. So I think that's a bright spot. Sometimes I can focus on all of the bad things coming down from the legislature. This is a bright spot that I am glad to see happening, and hope that that bill does indeed pass. And then lastly, I just want to mention briefly, there was a great op-ed in the Gazette about how we are just heading off the rails when it comes to green energy and the greenhouse gas mandates. Great explanation. If you haven't read that all, I would very much recommend it, of what is happening. We're seeing utility rates increase greatly. We're just moving so quickly that we don't have the technology, and it's very concerning. We're continually hearing about affordability. The governor gives lip service to the fact that he's trying to make Colorado more affordable, and yet I think last I saw we are the third least affordable state, and this is a huge part of it, are these green mandates that are just driving up the cost for everything. And the reality is, and this op-ed does a great job of pointing it out, what we think we're accomplishing is almost nothing when we are looking at the actual effects of greenhouse gases, climate change, all of those things that are used to justify that. There really isn't an impact when we look at what Colorado is doing in comparison to the rest of the world. And so we are putting ourselves at an extreme economic disadvantage, making very little impact, and making it very difficult for people to live their lives. So highly recommend that. I think it was Sean Page was the author of that, but highly recommend you take a look at that. It's a very well written explanation of what is happening in Colorado. Okay, with that, I think we are ready to move to item 8.
Item number 8 is Community Service Organization Reports. 8A, Pikes Peak Regional Building Department Annual Report. Greg DeGrando, Public Information Officer, Regional Building Department.
Good morning.
Good morning. There we go. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having us in. My name is Greg DeGrando. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, and along with me is our building official, Roger Lovell. We come before you each year. We like to give you our numbers for the year just to kind of give you an idea of kind of the growth that is happening here in the Pikes Peak region. We'll go over all of our numbers for all 8 of the jurisdictions that we serve, but then we'll also narrow in a little bit more specific to El Paso County. So I will kind of run through these fairly quickly, as I know you guys are very busy. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them for you. So some of the 2025 highlights. Big boom in commercial construction. New apartments more than tripled compared to 2024. We also had more than 4,100 apartments reach completion. So those are going to be the projects that were permitted probably 2, maybe even 3 years ago, reaching a full certificate of occupancy. Single family home construction did drop slightly. Re-roof permits dropped pretty significantly because we haven't had a significant hailstorm since 2023. We'll show you some maps on that. And then the total estimated valuation increased for the first time in 3 years, and it was largely because of that big boost in the apartment construction. So here's a look at the single family homes. We have it broken down on the left by month and then totaled up for you guys at the bottom. You'll see for 2025, we came in just over 2,800, so down slightly compared to 2024, but up compared to the slow year of 2023. You also still have the totals from 2020 and 2021 on there. You'll notice we were well over 5,000 new homes, and that was a very, very busy year for our local home builders. builders. On the right, you'll have a look at the commercial numbers, again, broken down by month and then totaled up for you guys at the bottom. 398 is where we came in for 2025, up pretty significantly compared to 2024, but not anywhere close to the crazy busy years that we had in 21 and 22. So here's a look at the single family homes. Again, 2,811. That was down just slightly, down 1%. And then the three different types of single family homes. You have detached homes, townhomes, and duplexes. Detached homes, we came in at 2,347. It was a really strong year for townhomes, 375. That's up 37% compared to 2024. And then the duplexes, it's 90 permits, equals out to 180 units. The breakdown by the 8 jurisdictions that we serve, Colorado Springs led the way with 1,489, up 2%. El Paso County was just over 1,000, up 1%. Monument had a pretty slow year again, 140, down 27%. Fountain was, I would say, flat. 64 new homes there, just down slightly, 1%. And then Woodland Park came in with 15, Palmer Lake 3, Manitou 2, and then Green Mountain Falls with 0. Here's a visual. I know this is pretty small, but all those data points on there represent something awesome. The single family homes, the detached homes are going to be your green triangles. Your red triangles are going to be your townhomes. The orange triangles will be your duplexes. The purple squares will be your apartments, and there are a very small amount of condos on there. Those are kind of hard to see, but there are some pink stars. Those are the condos, and then there are some yellow hexagons. Those are going to be your hotels. We had a good number of hotels permitted in 2025. So for El Paso County specifically, again, 1,099, up 1% for El Paso County. And these are some of the large, busy neighborhoods that are in El Paso County's limits. Falcon area had the most, 277. That's up 19%. So Falcon area continues to grow very, very quickly. Sterling Ranch had a strong year with 245, up 21%. Lorson Ranch was down just slightly, down 3%. The Glen, which is also down in that area near Lorson Ranch, had 67. Trails at Aspen Ridge, 53, up 17%. And then the Mayberry, which is the community out near Elcott, that was down pretty significantly, down 54%. Single family estimated valuation came in at $689 million, and that was up 2%. And then residential alterations down somewhat significantly, down 11% with 16,624. That is, again, largely because of the big reduction in those re-roof permits. That falls under that residential alteration umbrella. Estimated valuation was at $148 million. So I'm going to go through some of those neighborhoods fairly quickly for you guys. Here's a look at the Falcon area. There's mainly 3 different neighborhoods that kind of make up what I would call the Falcon area. Meridian Ranch in the upper right-hand corner, 147. Paintbrush Hills in the upper left with 50. And then Bent Grass with 80. That's the community you can actually see driving by along Woodman heading into the Falcon area. Sterling Ranch, as I mentioned, had a very strong year, 245. Then you also have Aspen Meadows to the southwest of Sterling Ranch, 25 new homes going in there. On the right, that is in a different community. That's just a zoomed in look, a little tighter at Sterling Ranch. Here's a look at southeast Colorado Springs and southeast El Paso County. So this is going to be located just to the southeast of the Colorado Springs Airport. Bradley Heights, 95 new homes. That is technically in the city limits of Colorado Springs. All of the other areas are going to be in El Paso County. So that includes trails at Aspen Ridge, the Glen, and Lorson Ranch. I have had the comment come in on socials that Lorson Ranch really isn't growing at all. Obviously it is. A lot of the growth is happening to the east. So if you are in the early phase of Lorson Ranch on the western, you wouldn't see a lot of the construction because it is all happening further to the east. The Elcott area, as I mentioned, a lot of growth, some growth happening out in the Elcott area, but the Mayberry has slowed down a little bit. That's what you see on the right. 13 new homes going into the Mayberry area just to the west of Elcott. So here's the breakdown by neighborhood. This is the top 10. So this includes some of the county neighborhoods, but also the city. Falcon led the way with 277, then Wolf Ranch, Banning Lewis, Sterling Ranch, Lorson Ranch, Skyview, Percheron, which is the brand new community that's just north of Banning Lewis on the north side of Woodman, 95 new homes into that community, Bradley Heights, The Glen, and then Aspen Ranch, which is in Fountain. So this is what I always refer to as the big blue blob. This is all of the re-roof permits that we issued last year. We issued 10,703, and that is down pretty significantly, down 34% compared to 2024, and 2024 numbers were down significantly compared to 2023. The re-roof industry is largely driven by those mega hailstorms. Again, knock on wood, we have not had one since 2023 in June, I believe. So those numbers continue to come down as we get farther and farther away from that hailstorm. So the commercial numbers were good. Very strong year for commercial construction, 398 new ground-up commercial projects. That's up 31%. And it's the first time we've seen an increase in commercial construction in 4 years. That was largely driven by the big increase in multifamily. We had 2,744 new apartment units permitted last year. That is up 227%. And that was largely driven by 2 very, very strong months at the very end of the year. We had 5 projects permitted in the month of November, and then 2 large projects permitted in the month of December. So those 2 months alone kind of tipped the scales and turned it into a very, very strong year for apartment growth. You also had one unique renovation project that I wanted to mention. It was a 32-unit project. It's a renovation of an old existing office. It's kind of near the Stargazers music venue, if you guys are familiar with that, just I'd say east of downtown. It's a renovation of an old office. We've seen renovations of some old hotels into apartments, but we don't often see renovations of old office space into apartments. So this project is up and running, 32 units going in there. At the same time of all the new apartments getting permitted, we also had a lot of the older projects that were permitted several years ago reaching full completion, what we call a certificate of occupancy. We had 4,175 apartments reach a full certificate of occupancy, so that is a lot of new units coming online for renters. It's a 10% increase over 2024, and it's the 3rd year in a row we've seen an increase in the number of units reaching a CO. So 2023, we were just over 3,000. 2024, we were at about 3,800. And then last year, again, we were close to 4,200. So that is a lot of apartment units coming online here in the Pikes Peak region. Because we had a large number of apartments permitted last year, particularly at the end of the year, the number of apartments that are currently under construction actually started to go back up. We've been dropping probably for the past year or so as we get some of those older projects, they wrap up. So then that total of 300, 350, whatever unit count it is, as soon as they reach a full certificate of occupancy, it is no longer considered under construction. So then that number keeps coming down. But because now we're having a large number of new apartments come online, that number has gone back up to 4,587 at the end of 2025. So here is a look at all of the apartment projects, and I won't go through all of them, but on the left, you'll see kind of where a lot of them are located. Several years ago, or 2-3 years ago, a lot of the apartments that would have been permitted would have been clustered kind of in the downtown area. You can see they're really all spread out all over the Pikes Peak region. There's actually only one apartment complex that's in downtown, and that is right in the middle of the list. It's the Lowell Ridge Apartments. It's South Nevada and Los Animas, so it's kind of tucked in right behind the police headquarters downtown, if you guys are familiar with that. Again, these are in the order of when they were permitted, so starting early in the year with the Crestone at Fillmore on the west side of town. And again, I won't go through all of these, but you'll notice that there are some asterisks on 5 of the apartment complexes, and these are all the projects that are listed as affordable housing. We don't make that determination. That typically comes in from the jurisdiction. In this case, it was the city of Colorado Springs. All of these projects are in Colorado Springs, but that is going to be the Village at Homewood Point 2, Sunrise at Shiloh Mesa, Royal Pine, Bradley Ridge, and the Flats at Sand Creek. Bradley Ridge, I will point out, is a bit unique because that project also has a daycare facility that is connected. That's part of that project. Makes that one a little bit more unique. A couple others that I'll point out. The Venture on Venatucci, that's a 336-unit project down along South Academy. That is the only one that is technically in El Paso County limits. And then the Maverick at Monument is obviously in Monument. Other commercial projects outside of multifamily, you've got the American Furniture Warehouse. That's a $45 million project located on the east side of town over near Dublin and Tut. The new giraffe exhibit, $25 million project that's happening at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. Very unique and awesome project going in there. 5 new hotels. As I mentioned, that's a little bit more than we normally see. I'd say we average somewhere around 1 to 2 hotels a year. So to have 5 in 1 year was very strong. 650 total rooms, the largest being the After Sunset Hotel and Resort. That's over 200 rooms, $22 million project located just outside of the Ford Amphitheater on the southern edge of the Voyager Road kind of interchange there. El Pomar Conference Center, $19 million project. That is kind of over near the Broadmoor, kind of tucked back in on the backside of the Broadmoor there. That's a $19 million project. Jenkins Middle School expansion. You guys might be familiar. That school had some structural issues. Part of that school had to be demoed. This expansion is basically putting back what was lost during that time. And then the Broadcom AI Lab. It's located over near Citizen Service Park and Red Leg Brewery. That's an $11.5 million project going in there. The new restaurants, this is what everybody seems to care about. If you look at our social media posts, everybody likes to hear about new food and new restaurant options coming to the area. El Pollo Loco is open, up and running. That was a renovation project over on Fillmore. That was a renovation of an old KFC. Pizza Ranch, that is also moving into an existing building that's located over near Austin Bluffs and Academy. That's big in the Midwest. If you guys are familiar, they have one down in Pueblo. That one did very well on social media. A lot of people excited about the Pizza Ranch. Texas de Brazil, that is a new ground up project over near the Ford Amphitheater. Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken, that is down in South Nevada area, near South Nevada and Brookside. I wasn't familiar with this one, but apparently it's very popular in Alabama and Georgia. I think it's familiar or similar to a Raising Cane's chicken type place. The Brit, this isn't new. This is just a new location. They've been in a couple different spots here in town, but the Brit moved into the old, what we call the City Gate Apartments, or the Experience at the Epicenter, just to the south of Switchback Stadium. So the Brit is now open, up and running. And then the Roth's Sea and Steakhouse, that's connected to Ford Amphitheater, kind of on the backside, connected to the sound wall, that is also up and running. So some of the projects that wrapped up last year, you had the Integris project in the Rock Rimmon on the west side. That was a $116 million project permitted back in 2023. That is now done. The Hunter Apartments downtown, also complete. 2 King Supers projects. You've got the one up in Flying Horse and then the one in Fountain. Both of those are now open. The Colorado Springs Airport, the international customs areas, you guys are familiar. Southwest Airlines started flying international last summer, so they had to build a customs area. We did the inspections on that, all good. It's open, up and running. And then the Colorado Springs Fire Department added Fire Station 24 in the Interquest area. That is already up and running and very busy, I'm told. Estimated valuation for all construction, we came in at $3.7 billion, and that is up 8%, again, largely because of that big increase in the apartment construction. So El Paso County specifically, here's a look at some of your projects. 214 commercial permits, and that includes all of the subs that go along with the building permits. That's up 49%. Hanover School Addition and Renovation, $10 million project. You've got the new El Paso County Sheriff's Substation going up in the Falcon area, and that is the photo that you see on the right. That's an $8.2 million project. Meridian Storage in the Falcon area. There are several storage projects happening in both the county as well as the city. The Goodwill in Falcon, that is complete. A warehouse, 22,500 square feet. That's located, seems like it's in the city, but it's in one of the enclaves. It's over near the county jail, $2.3 million project there. Cathedral Rock Church on Struthers Ranch Road, $2.3 million, and an autism therapy center in the Falcon area, $1.3 million. Commercial estimated valuation, $59 million. That's down just slightly, down 5%. And then commercial alterations, 606, down 11%. A couple of projects that I highlighted, they were quite large for an alteration project. Landscape Endeavors Addition, that's a $1.7 million project. And then Cimarron Hills Fire Department has an existing space that they'll be doing a change of occupancy on to move into in the near future. Plan review numbers, 2,672 new plans for homes. That's down 7%. Residential alterations, we were down 5%. New commercial and multifamily, we were down 3%. Commercial alterations down 5%, and then total plans 11,629. We were down 6% on the number of plans coming into our office. Next up, we got the inspection. Our inspection team remained very, very busy. 266,077 inspections performed last year. That was down 10%, and that decrease is largely, again, back to those re-roofs. We were doing a lot less re-roof inspections, so the overall total came down. We ended the year with 55 inspectors working hard out in the field. The department averages just over 1,000 inspections every day. Monday through Friday, I should say. Daily average for our staff is 20 to 25 inspections per inspector, and we are still offering same-day inspections. We are one of the only building departments in the state that is offering same-day inspections, something we're very, very proud of. That is on everything except for roofing and our elevator team. So here's a look at the public GIS mapping tool. This is available to you guys. It's available to your staff, and it's available to anybody on our website, pprbd.org. It works pretty much the same as my beautiful green triangles. I'm selfish. I like green triangles, but red dots are awesome too. So everybody has access to this. You'll notice on the left side, we have a number of filters that you guys can set. If you only want to look at permit activity for El Paso County, you can set that. If you want to set it to Colorado Springs or to Fountain, you can do that. You can set it by square footage. You can set it by dollar amount. You can set it by school district. A lot of different filters that are very, very helpful. And then on the right, you can also lay down layers. What you're looking at, all the different colors are going to be your county district, your districts that you guys are all in. So it's split up amongst the 5 districts. So that'd be a good way if you guys want to look at activity specific to your district, you could set it up to do just that. This you guys have seen before, but it hasn't changed, and we're happy to show you this as many times as you guys would like. We have the lowest fees in the entire state of Colorado, something else that we are very, very proud to share. If you compare us to some of our other friends, particularly up to the north, it's not close, and we have not raised our fees in 20 years, something that our builders really, really love, and something we're very, very proud of. Last slide I've got for you guys is a number of our free classes that we offer. We just offered our Contractor 101 class in February, just last week. We have a homeowner permitting class coming up on Thursday. We still have a couple of slots available. If you guys have any constituents that you would like to send our way, that would be great. We have a residential realtor class coming up on February 18th. The next Contractor 101 class will be coming up on March 4th. And the Contractor 101 class is the one class that we offer regularly. It's on the first Wednesday of each month. Commercial property, we also have a commercial property class coming up on March 10th, and that is mainly for commercial brokers, but it's also for entrepreneurs that are going to be looking to move into, say, a brick and mortar. We want to make sure that they don't move into the wrong type of place. If you move into the wrong, if it's the wrong building occupancy classification, it could require some extra hoops to jump through. So we want to take entrepreneurs through, educate them to the process to make sure that they know what they're getting into, and help them select the right place before they sign on the dotted line, and then it turns into a nightmare down the road. The homeowner permitting class, I did hand out some flyers for that to Miss Allred. I believe she can pass those out to you guys if she has not already. And if you guys have any questions about any of our classes, I'm happy to answer any questions there, as well as any questions on the rest of our numbers.
Any questions? Commissioner Applegate.
So this is something I've actually gotten from my constituents. So this location that you're doing this class, the Cordera Crest location, how many people work out of that office?
So it depends what time of day.
Okay.
So in the mornings, we have about 25 of our inspectors working out of that office.
Okay.
So they're there for about probably the first hour and a half of the day. And then they split out and they go work the northern portion of the county. So they're working the Falcon area, Monument, Northgate, Interquest, Cordera, and that area. So in the morning, very, very busy. Outside of that, we have at least one permit tech and licensing representative, and at least 3 to 4 of our plan reviewers there as well. And then our admin team has offices there, and they kind of split their time between the south office and the north office.
Okay. And so you if I needed to get a permit for something, I could use that location potentially, or would it just not be ideal after, like, say, like lunchtime? Like, is it just
no, no,
not? Oh, no.
All RBD is available. So if you want to pull a permit, you can go in anytime. If you want to get a plan reviewed, you can go in anytime. In fact, I would actually encourage anybody, if they have the opportunity to go to the North office, that is the place to go because it is a little bit quieter. You can almost guaranteed to get a same day plan review inspection at the North office. You probably can at the South office as well, but maybe not. So if anybody has that opportunity, I would encourage that. The one thing that we don't have at the North office is the external agencies. So we share an office, share a building with you guys in the Regional Development Center. So you have county zoning, city engineering, CSU, all those external agencies are at the South office, but they are not located at the North office.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Nelson.
Can you describe a little, it's Pikes Peak Regional Building, so all the area that you cover on your map with your stars, I noticed that there were some stars up in like closer to Woodland Park area, so Teller County, I would think.
So
Can you just give a description?
It is just the city limits of Woodland Park. So as soon as you get outside, across the line, then it becomes the Teller County. They have their own building department up there, so it becomes Teller County. So if Woodland Park specific, it's us. If it's just outside into the county, then it becomes Teller County.
Okay, so then I'm just trying to put more of a definition behind Pikes Peak Regional Building and all of what you cover. So basically El Paso County plus City of Woodland Park, or
Roger Level Regional Building, yes. City of Woodland Park, and then all of El Paso County with the exception of Calhan and Rama.
okay.
We are actually talking with Calhan about potentially entering into agreement with Calhan.
Okay. Can you describe a little about how you have not had to increase fees in 20 years? That is amazing. I know I mentioned it previously that we should be megaphoning that. And so how have you done it?
Well, Roger Level Regional Building, I think it comes down to efficiency and continuing to look for new and different ways to handle things, leveraging technology. Mr. Applegate, you brought up the North Building. The North Building there was a significant expense associated with that, but the savings realized from that when you have 25 to 29 inspectors that are starting their inspections, factor in traffic half an hour earlier every day, you get that many more inspections done a day. So that helps to increase efficiency, and a lot of the technology that we've utilized, such as electronic plan review and electronic inspections as well, where you can upload an image for a failed inspection, saves us a trip back out, saves the contractor the time of waiting for the inspector to arrive. So, and I think the electronic inspections has saved us in the neighborhood of probably 15 to 18 positions.
Can you describe what that is a little bit more detail, electronic?
Sure. If there's times where we can submit, or where the contractor or homeowner can submit something electronically. It could be a test and balance report. It could be an engineer letter. It could be a picture of a correction that was required from a previous inspection. But rather than making a trip out to the field to collect that letter or take a look at that one little component, the contractor or homeowner can upload that image via their online portal. Those inspections, those documents or whatever they might be, are reviewed prior to 9 o'clock in the morning before the inspectors go out, and then that inspection request. So that saves a lot of time as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for just continuing to make things easier for our community.
I would just add too, a lot of it I think comes down to our staff too. A lot of our inspectors in particular have been with us for a long time. They've been dealing with codes for a long time, and we do a lot of extensive training to make sure that they're on top of things. And our inspectors are able to develop relationships with the contractors out in the field. And I think that really kind of helps speed things along when they have a really good quality relationship with the contractors they're working with day in and day out in the field. And I think that just kind of helps speed up the process when you have a really knowledgeable staff and then a good relationship with the contractors out in the field.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the classes that you're offering regularly, I'm sure help with that. I know I spoke with you both back in December about wanting to attend, and one of these days I'll get there when I'm not quite so busy, but just to get a better understanding of how your regional building is supporting our community. It's not something I have experience with, and so I think it would be good to understand a little bit more nuance to how you're serving our citizens. Thank you for what you're doing.
And it is rare. We are one of only now 2 regional building departments in the state. Most of them are very specific to one specific town or region, but us being one of 2, and I think the others up in Steamboat area.
Commissioner Applegate?
So last question, I swear. So you said Calhan and Rama don't go through regional for their inspections. Who does their inspections? I'm curious.
I can't speak for Rama. I would, Calhan, I know, does their own building inspections. And then the state of Colorado does the electrical and plumbing inspections for Calhan. And I believe the state of Colorado also does that for Rama. That is limited to the town limits of both of those municipalities.
Okay, thank you.
I would add there's not a ton of growth in those areas, so I think the inspections are pretty limited at this point. But glad that you're in talks with them nonetheless. And I just want to add my gratitude for the tremendous work that you all are doing. Since I was on my soapbox this morning about how the state of Colorado continues to make things less affordable, this is always refreshing. I'm honored to serve on the board of Regional Building and to see the tremendous work that gets done, that you truly want to help deregulate, keep those regulations into a place where they are focused on health and safety as they should be, and make sure we're not putting a lot of regulatory additional burden that costs people money. So really appreciate the work that you all do. And thank you for the update. I guess Falcon is just going to keep on growing strong, it looks like. So lots of change coming to my neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Commissioner Weissong?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we get a copy of that slide deck?
Yes, we can. I think we've already sent it over to you guys. It's a large file, and that's my only hesitation there. But we can get it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, last call for any questions or comments. Alrighty, thank you so much for being here
Thank you.
today. Appreciate you. Okay, item 9.
Item number 9 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. And Madam Chair, I'm unaware of anyone signing in to speak.
Okay, is there anyone here today who wishes to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? Right, I hear none. Item 10.
Item number 10 is the called up consent calendar, and there are no items called up today.
Item 11.
Item 11 is department and committee reports, non-action items, and there are none.
Item 12.
Item 12 is the addendum, and there are no addendums today.
Item 13.
Item 13 is the executive session. 13A, request for executive session pursuant to CRS 246402 4B and E for the purpose of holding a conference with the county attorney's office to receive legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding pending litigation in the matter of the estate of Jamin Robertson et al. Versus the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County et al. 25 CV 2764 in the United States District Court of the District of Colorado. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney. And item 13B, request for executive session pursuant to CRS 246402 4B and E for the purpose of holding a conference with the county attorney's office to receive legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding pending litigation in the matter of the estate of Michael Werbel versus El Paso County, Colorado et al. 25 CV 04165 in the United States District Court for the District of Colorado. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney.
Okay, do you have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. I'll call the roll, beginning with Commissioner Weissong.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. We are in executive session. you.